What's up, everybody? We are live. What's going on, Brad? How are you, brother?
I'm good, man. How are you doing?
I am doing well. It is a beautiful morning here in Chicago, and I'm feeling good, man. Ready for a killer week.
Ready for a killer pod. Let's go.
Ready for a killer pod. That is true. We're running with this question and answer type episode that we've done the last couple days. I'm really enjoying it. I know Brad's enjoying it, and I think this is the best way to connect with you guys in the audience and answer what are the things that you actually want help with. So let us know. Leave us a comment, leave us a review, shoot us an email at support@mindsetmogul.com with your question. Please subscribe to us if you're watching on YouTube. We appreciate all those things, and let us know what you want to see. We love your feedback, and we're going to keep building content to help you guys. So this question today we have from Sarah H, and it reads, "Hi, Josh and Brad. I have been feeling bogged down lately. It feels like there are a lot of things working against me and causing stress in my life. It's been tough for me to get momentum because of this. Do you have any suggestions on getting past this?" Sarah, I think we have some suggestions for you. I'm going to let Brad start out, and go for it, brother.
Yeah, I'm gonna hop in here, and I think before we start talking about what you can do to start addressing whatever these negative feelings and this feeling of weight that you have in your life, I think I want to talk about what are a couple observations that we have for people in these situations that are likely the root cause of the issue that you're facing. And I think the first one, when we hear things like things are working against you or things are causing stress in your life, the first thing that comes to my mind is you're probably not prioritizing yourself. When you're letting external things, other people get in the way of your happiness, you're likely giving them too much mental energy and prioritizing whatever those things are over your true mental health, the things that are going to benefit you the most for yourself. And so I think it's important that you take a step back and first ask, are all these things that are weighing me down, like, are they really things that I should care about? And are they things that are benefiting me in my life?
Are they things you should be caring about? Maybe they are things you should be caring about, but are they things that you should be prioritizing over the things that you want to achieve? So even if you're getting bogged down by things that you care about, do you care about them more than achieving whatever goals or whatever momentum that you're trying to build? And that's where the prioritization comes in.
Yeah, and I touched on this a little bit, but it's an important fact to understand that literally everything in your life takes some form of mental energy. If it's a thing that sits on a shelf and you see it, even though it's extremely minor, that thing is still taking mental energy. It's in your scope of awareness. And this becomes even more and more true based on how impactful the thing is on your life. So take a relationship, for example. This is going to take a ton of mental energy. Your job is taking a ton of mental energy. Where you live is taking a ton of your mental energy. And so recognize everything in your life comes with some sort of cost. And so the fact that you're feeling bogged down means that there are a lot of things in your life that are taking from your mental energy and not necessarily contributing clearly to the things that you want to be getting momentum towards.
Yeah, and I think that, there's a handful of ways to start changing the way that you prioritize things. And I know for me, it started with just really making a decision that I was going to prioritize myself and my goals. And I like, as Brad says, going into a season of you. Basically, I went into a season of me where I shut out all the things around me, all the distractions, all the things that bogged me down. I got rid of them, and I just focused on exactly what my priorities were, which was, quitting my job, losing weight, developing a healthy relationship, like all these things that I prioritized more than all the other things that bogged me down. And I think that there's something really powerful about going on an elimination diet and basically eliminating things from your life so that you can prioritize on the things that really matter. Like Brad said, even if it's something sitting on a shelf, it's something that takes mental energy. So yeah, have you had an experience like this in your life, Brad?
100%. So the last 3 months, I've considered a season of me where I had multiple bachelor parties. I had a ski trip, and all of those things, they were in the future. They were already taking mental energy from me. And actually, I think this is a good point that things, people, events, obligations, these are all things that can work to bog you down. And in my case, I wanted to do this 75 hard. I had fitness goals for myself. I had mental focus goals for myself for us doing this podcast. And I prioritized what are the things that I care about and are moving me towards my goals. And then what are the key things that are going to be taking the most mental energy from me in the next 3 months. And I identified it was these set of obligations where I was going to go there. I was going to be pressured to drink. I was going to be exhausted during the week that followed them. And even though they're things that I wanted to do, once I took a step back and said, what are my priorities? It became very clear that those things were going to bog me down. They were going to keep me from getting momentum. And so this was an exercise in ruthlessly prioritizing myself. What was in alignment with the values and the things that I wanted to accomplish over the next 3 months. And so I gave myself permission to just say no to everything for just a while. Like, you can make it, this doesn't need to be a forever decision, but I was able to say no to everything for 3 months so that I could do what I needed to do to feel good about moving myself forward in life. And so I think it's a frame shift where you say, screw everything else. What do I need? Because you can't show up as the best version of yourself for anything if you are feeling bogged down like this, Sarah. Like, you're going to keep always being the 50 or the 75% version of yourself if you're feeling this weight. And so don't do it. One thing is, maybe don't do it for yourself. Do it for everyone else in your life, to prioritize yourself first, so that you can show up as your best self in all those future scenarios without that weight and with that momentum that you're talking about.
Damn, I love that. So that you could do it for everybody else, that you could show up 100% for them, even if you're not going to do it for yourself. That is, I mean, obviously you should do it for yourself, but man, that's a good point. Like, if you can't do it for yourself, you're showing up 50% for everybody else in your life. So if you can't do it for yourself and you need to do things for other people, do it for them at least. But yeah, I have a similar experience, by the way, as far as like, I remember when I first decided I was going to quit my job, I literally texted my friends in a group chat and said, don't invite me to anything for the next 6 months. Because I'm not doing anything for the next 6 months. I have one priority, and that one priority is building my business to a point where I can quit my job. That was it. And I did it because I literally purged every other thing out of my life that was distracting me. I purged, the fun time with my friends. I purged going to family events. I stopped doing a lot of things, and that's not how you want to live your whole life, of course. But there, like Brad says, it's a season, okay? Just because I'm making a sacrifice for 6 months doesn't mean that I'm going to sacrifice those things for the rest of my life. That 6 months actually now made me enjoy those things way more in my life because I was able to prioritize myself for those 6 months and become the 100% version of myself. And that's just one example for working. Obviously, like, there's a lot of other examples when it comes to losing weight. I purged all the things out of my house and got rid of all the distractions, all the things that caused me to be lazy or caused me to eat like crap. I got rid of. Getting rid of negative thought patterns. Like, I stopped watching the content that I was watching and started watching other content. And I really prioritized myself in every way possible. And it's probably the only reason why I got to where I am. So highly suggest going into a season of you.
I was thinking about what you just said, and I like the term you use, elimination diet. There's something to, so because everything in your life takes mental energy, you figure like you've got this scope of everything in your life that your mind could potentially be working on, whether that's the things in your house, whether that's where you live, whether the events and obligations you have, your thoughts, your beliefs, your habits, people, all of these things are collectively capturing your attention and using your mental energy. And so when you think about how do I feel less bogged down? How do I gain momentum? It's actually addition by subtraction. You're like, how can I shed the weight of anything in my life that isn't aligned with gaining that momentum? How do I build a springboard for myself? And like you said, just for a limited period of time so that you can get it's like a rocket ship going into space. Like, I think I'm going to flub this stat, but it's something like this. It's like 90% of the energy to get into space is exerted in the first like couple thousand feet of getting off the ground. And so that's what purging is. It's getting the momentum. It's the springboard of moving yourself from zero to just enough so that you can be doing, like, make the sacrifices now so that you can have the freedom to do what you want later. You can not bear the burden of these things in the future because you make short-term sacrifices. And so going through a challenging time of eliminating things that you might like doing, but aren't aligned with your goals, your values, you know they aren't in your best interest, and they're keeping you from that momentum, or they're causing stress in your life, making the hard decision for a short period of time is going to give you that escape velocity, like the rocket ship, to get far enough off the ground that, you know, eventually you're weightless, you're in space. And now every move you make is a lot easier to get in the direction that you're trying to go.
Real quick, I love that analogy because I always talk about this. Like when somebody asks me, well, how do I build a business to quit my job? I go, well, you're going to have to spend 6 months where you work your full-time 8-hour job, and then you work another 8 hours on your business. But 6 months later, if you quit your job, now all of a sudden you go from working 16 hours a day to having a whole 8 hours free to do either whatever you want or work even more on your main business rather than your job. So that initial 6 months took a ton of your energy, but all of a sudden now you have all this time, you've built the momentum to get into this place, and you can kind of coast from that point forward, or spend this additional time growing even further, but still spending less than 16 hours a day, if that makes sense. Same thing with losing weight. It's like, it's going to take you a few months to lose the initial weight, but then once you lose it, all you have to do is maintain. The hardest part is losing it. And then once you have to maintain, you've already built the momentum. Now it's just about maintaining. So just 2 real life examples for what you just said, because that is such a good analogy. It really is the most difficult part in the beginning is just that initial launch. And if you could get through that initial launch, you're going to build the confidence in yourself to keep that momentum going. And yeah, I think that was really good advice, Brad.
So I think we're probably at a point. I want to take a step back, and for Sarah, thinking practically about how to use this advice, there's probably certain things more than others that are causing you to feel like things are working against you, to feel that stress, to feel bogged down. And so I think if we can do I'll call it like a combination of audience exercise, but Sarah, this is what I would do if I was going to try and take steps to not feel bogged down anymore. And so the first thing you need to do is bring self-awareness to what are the things that are causing stress in your life? What is working against you? And so Josh and I had put together a quick list of all the things that you could include on this quote unquote elimination diet. And you should think about each of the specific things and how they could be impacting you and causing you to feel this way, to feel bogged down. And so this can include things like all of the stuff in your house. Like quite literally doing a spring cleaning is a potential way to remove things in your life that are taking your attention or keeping you from momentum. Just because the more stuff you have, the more things you have to manage that probably aren't aligned with what your goals or your values are. I don't think we're telling you to become like a minimalist, but it's definitely a healthy exercise. Think about if it's things in your house that are potentially negatively impacting you. Events and obligations. Obviously, this was a big one for me, and I think it is for a lot of people, that this is other people trying to take your time with what they want to do, and you need to decide, is it worth your time, and are these events a source of stress for you because you can't get to what you need to do to move your life forward. Josh mentioned this earlier, sources of information. This is a huge one. Your mind is constantly filled with whatever you choose to fill it with via the sources of information. And so do an audit, become self-aware. Are your sources of information something that you need to purge? Thoughts, beliefs, habits. We didn't go into this too much, but this is a huge one where you need to think about your thoughts. You need to think about your self-limiting beliefs and look at your habits and ask, can I purge anything here that's negative or not benefiting me moving myself forward? And then the final one, and honestly, I think this is the biggest one for a lot of people, is people. Toxic people in your life are going to take more energy, more mental focus, more strain on your life than anything else, because you're generally very emotionally attached to whatever that situation is with that person, and emotions are going to drain the most energy from you. And so I think the last and most important thing is consider the people in your life, Sarah. Are there people that are telling you that or implying that you can't be the person you want to be, do the things you want to do, or just acting in a toxic way that pulls you back from getting that momentum that you're talking about? And so I would literally sit down for 60 minutes, look at all these different parts of your life, and figure out what are the things that are not bringing you love, abundance, alignment to your goals. And then as a second step, figure out for the next 3 months, and just start with that, or even just make it a month. How are you going to purge those things? Whether you're throwing out or donating things, or you're doing what Josh did and sending everybody a text and said, hey, I'm out for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. Delete Instagram, delete Twitter, stop watching the news. Figure out what it is that you need to do to purge the right things to free yourself from the burden of all the things that are holding you back in your life.
That was perfect. I'm just going to leave you with one thing. You have one life. What are you prioritizing in that one life? Are you prioritizing these things that are bogging you down, or are you prioritizing the thing that you want to achieve in your life? Think about that, and think about if you want to show up for yourself 100% and show up for all the people in your life 100%. And if you want to make that a priority, you will. So that's all I will say. But I think that was great. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed, Sarah. I hope you got something out of that. Hope we weren't too harsh on you. But no, that was great. Thank you, Brad. Guys, if you're listening, please give us a review. Please follow us on any of the platforms. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Leave a comment with your question and we will answer it, or send us an email to support@mindsetmogul.com, and we will catch you in the next episode. Anything else, Brad?
That's it from me.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you guys. We will see you in the next one. Have a great day.
Take care, everybody.